Today we're going to talk about goals. Listen, I've always been a goal setter. From a very young age, I set very clear goals. And interestingly enough, I probably achieved almost all of them. Now, sometimes you change your goals. One of the most important things to remember as a young person is that it's okay to put a stake in the ground and say, I want to do this, and then decide later that you don't want to do this. It's all good. But the achievement that you're going to have rushing after that particular goal will always be something that people will look at, you'll be proud of, and the relationships and the respect that you gain along the way toward a goal is something that you're going to have for the rest of your life. I wanted to be in politics when I was young. And so I did everything that I could do I set the goals. I knew when I graduated from college what district I was going to run in. I knew the kind of people that I wanted to get to know. I started clubs associated with those particular goals. See, it's interesting. Have you ever met somebody who worked for some company and you heard the name of the company, but you never heard of it before? And then all of a sudden, for the next week, you walked around and you saw the name of the company everywhere. It was on this billboard, it was in this advertisement, it was on that truck, and you're like, wait a second, did these all of a sudden just spring up? No, they didn't just spring up. They just sprang to the forefront of your mind, to the consciousness of your mind. When you set goals, opportunities that used to lie around in the grass jump out at you. It's not just the opportunities that you're seeing, but it's also if you set your goals and you share them with others, then those individuals, you'll be very surprised, might be able to help you. And their ears and eyes will be tuned to those opportunities that may be in front of them, and they're like, hey, wait a second, you know, Keith just told me that that was one of his goals, I'm going to go reach out. I mean, there was a number of years ago when there was a wonderful show called Oprah that I wanted to get on, and I happened to coincidentally mention it to a part-time administrative assistant. And she said, oh really? Well, my cousin is Gayle King's assistant, which happens to be Oprah's best friend. So my setting a goal, making it clear that I wanted to increase my brand through media, that was a particular place called Oprah that I wanted to get on, sharing it with others, made it one step closer to possible. I want you to set your goals. Now, let me also make one suggestion. Don't set goals because other people want you to set goals. Your goals are not to be the goals of others, they're to be yours. Now, I understand that you have obligations. There were times in my life when I went to Yale. My father wanted me to go to a business school, and he worked so hard to make sure that I didn't have the same kind of economic challenges that he did. So he asked me to go to a school where I would have never a worry in my life because I would get a business degree. He wanted me to go to a particular business school. I had to set my own goals. I wanted to go to a particular school. I wanted to be in a particular profession. But I have to say that there were other times that I let the influence of others unduly influence me. And it usually ended up in negative consequences. When you're not passionate, when the goals that you set aren't your own, but they're others, you tend to underperform. Your motivation, your enthusiasm, your focus, all of the wheels in the intellect clicking to make it happen, it doesn't happen. Look, you'll learn on your own, and of course you have this sense of obligation to certain people around you. You'll figure it out over time. But I think when you start looking back, you'll realize that when you pursued your passion, that's your blue flame, that's when you were really successful. So start thinking about that now and pushing yourself. Now, how do you discover that? I discovered it through experience. I discovered it through talking to people. Do I want to be a stockbroker? Well, it sounds like it's going to be great. Well, let me go talk to stockbrokers. Ooh, I don't want to be a stockbroker. Do I want to work for a big corporation like Procter & Gamble? Well, that sounds great. Let me go talk to Sack & Pampers? Don't think so, right? So let's have conversations with the people that you've identified that are critical to you achieving by the way, working for Procter & Gamble is not a bad thing. It just wasn't for me at the time, right? Had I gone into it in another direction, maybe not necessarily in that entry-level fashion, but in some other part, it might have been great. But I don't want to be one of those individuals that unduly influence any of you in anything that I say. My passions, my dreams, my goals are mine. I have found my passion. I am so much more successful, so much more happier for it. My goals are clear. They're crystal clear. I want them to be for you. Start this week. Set some goals.